Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 318R. My name is Howard Taylor, and I prefer the term guest lecturer to the term substitute. According to Brandon Sanderson's syllabus, it says, I talk for 40 minutes, you listen. That seems like an awesome scenario. This is not the way it usually works when I talk, but we'll pretend. And then for about some block of time until about 6:20, there's Q&A. People usually love to ask me business sorts of questions because I currently make a living as a web cartoonist, which I know doesn't seem possible or seems like a dream job or whatever. I'm happy to field any sorts of questions during the Q&A period. I have actually set a timer so that I will stop in time for us to have a Q&A. And then supposedly there's a break, and then I think you break up into your writing groups and you discuss what's going on, and I will be sitting in with writing group number 3. Yes, I actually read your stuff. I'm here to talk about humor, and yeah, because it's the driest thing in the world when somebody starts lecturing you about what's funny and what's not funny. But I want to lead with the fact, and I say fact because it is a demonstrable, provable fact, that anything that can be done can be taught and can be learned. If it's not working for you, it's because you're not doing it right, you've been given bad information, you're not practicing it right, something's wrong with your process. So if you're attempting to be funny and people are telling you that your jokes fall flat, don't feel like they've just told you that, you're short or you're bald, because those are, those are things that you can't necessarily overcome, while having a good sense of humor is. If you want to be a good writer, well, you're here. You're learning to write. You want to learn to tell jokes in your writing, you're here, and I am here to help you do that. The first principle I want to lay down for you is the principle of the subverted expectation. A great example of subverted expectations is found in the the David Letterman top 10 lists. Any of you ever listened to those sorts of top 10 things? Let me tell you what I mean. You know what? I should have brought one of the Schlock Mercenary calendars. I created a set of maxims for maximally effective mercenaries, each of which is supposed to be an in-universe aphorism that my characters live by. And yes, some of them are extremely foolhardy and stupid, both the characters and the aphorisms. One of the aphorisms, I'll share it with you now, a soft answer turneth away wrath. Once wrath is looking the other way, shoot it in the head. Those of you who are familiar with Scripture know that a soft answer turneth away wrath is sort of like the peacemaker's sort of approach to dealing with conflict. And I have subverted it and turned it into a horribly violent practice of deception. There are plenty of other examples of this. But the way this works is that you take your reader down a path, and they think they know where that path ends, and they are wrong, because you're going someplace else. Now, there's a couple of ways that we can respond to that. If you are writing horror, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to subvert our expectations, and you may actually subvert the subversion of our expectations. Have you ever been in a movie and you realize, oh, this music, this scene, this is where the cat jumps out, and instead of the cat jumping out, somebody falls through the floor to their death. And you realize, I was surprised, I was horrified. Same principle between humor and horror, and this should tell you something, because both humor and horror seek to do something that probably the most difficult thing to do in fiction, and that is elicit a physiological response from the consumer. I don't just want you to read, I want you to laugh. That's difficult. I'm trying to make your body do a thing without me touching you or letting you smell anything, or even, if I'm not using pictures, even let you see anything. I'm trying to get you to tell yourself a story that is so funny that you will actually have a physiological response. And horror works the same way. We're trying to make you, trying to get your hackles up, trying to raise your heart rate. There are other genres that deal in physiological responses, and we're not allowed to teach them at BYU. What was that joke I just told? Was that a dirty joke?
Didn't have to be.
Didn't have to be. But every one of you who laughed probably told yourselves a dirty joke. Okay? No, you did. You did. And that is one of the humorist's best stock in trade. That is the ability for me to lay out a scenario so that you will tell yourself a joke that's funnier than the one I can tell you. And I'm going to go ahead and share a story that I shared in front of Brandon's class back in 08 or 09. I was at Life, the Universe, and Everything, back when it was still here on campus, when BYU still had a love for us. And a student asked me, you know, I'm speaking as her now because this is going to be on camera and it'll sound really weird. I'm a girl and I've got nothing but sisters. How do I write believable men? What do I need to do to write believable men? And I responded, as a professional humorist, I just need to discard my first 6 responses. And we're at BYU, so I'm going to go ahead and discard another 5. So, you know what? Just try and write it and let your readers know if it works. And she was writing down everything that I said, very focused, did not bother telling herself any of the dirty jokes that I was giving her permission to tell herself now. When I shared that with Brandon's class, there was quite a bit of nervous laughter. And none of you did it because you saw it coming because I telegraphed it with the earlier joke. There's quite a bit of nervous laughter as all these students realized, did he just tell a dirty joke? I might need to, no, I can't report this because he didn't actually say anything. Okay? But I promise you, there is a list of words that I have right now, and if I said any one of those words, and they are all very natural sorts of ordinary words, which in any other context would not get me in trouble. But if I say those words in here right now in this context, one of you will report me and Brandon will get in trouble and I won't get my money. So I'm not going to use those words. The reason this works is that I have established a context. I have set up some expectations, and now the jokes, the humor, is lying out there in a dozen different places where I could go to get it. Have any of you ever read Lois McMaster Bujold? Okay, not a lot. Military sci-fi, and by not a lot I mean one. How many of you just aren't going to raise your hand when I ask questions? Okay, no, that's good. That's actually very helpful. I now have I've set a response threshold for the class. How many of you love the opportunity to raise your hand when you know what's going on? Okay. How many of you don't know what was going on right there? All right. Lois McMaster Bujold, military fiction, one of her characters says, don't plan a single path for victory. Plan so that all paths lead to victory. With regard to humor, I think of that as set up the joke, but don't set up just one joke. Set it up so that you can tell lots of jokes.